So right now we live in a time where things are changing, and the way that people think is changing. And people call it the Great Awakening, however you want to look at it. And there's a lot of different things going on right now, but I want to focus on kind of the spiritual and religious part of it. And right now, so we've all heard that history repeats itself and the pendulum swings. And when people say the pendulum swings, they mean like a culture can go like really liberal and then really conservative and back and forth, right? And you see this right now where for a long time we were kind of going in like a liberal / atheist direction. And now it's bouncing back toward more of a Christian / conservative traditional direction. And I actually think that that's like better than, you know, atheism. I think a lot of people would agree with that now. So it does make me happy, and I'm not trying to like rain on anyone's parade, but the answer is not to like just go back in time and go back, because like the cycle that humanity is the pendulum swinging. So if we went super atheist and then all we're going to do is just go super religious and judgmental, that's actually not the answer. And it's funny because like I see a lot of the kind of Christian like influencers and podcasters and people that are prominent right now, and this doesn't like apply to all of them, but a lot of them are just like super judgy, and that's actually a big part of the reason the pendulum swing in the atheist direction before, is because a lot of people grow up going to church and they have a bad experience and then they don't like Christianity. And a lot of people would, even still right now, would choose any religion over Christianity because of their experience with Christians. And I don't just want to talk to Christians, like I'm talking to anyone, Muslims, like I'm open-minded. Me, myself, I have my own beliefs, but I'm open-minded. I can have a conversation with anyone. I respect everyone's beliefs. But the cycle that we're in, where history repeats itself, is that we go one way and then we just go back to what was familiar from before. And I think the real answer, I mean, if you look at Jesus' teachings in the Bible, it was actually more about basically the golden rule, like not to be, I know it's kind of like obvious, or you feel like you're going back to first grade when you hear this, but the whole like treat everyone how you would want to be treated, that is like the only way out of the mess that humanity has found itself in. It's like the only real path, and that's the only way to break the cycle. And by the way, if we just start like bullying liberals and bullying atheists and forcing conservative Christian values on people, all we're doing is going back in time. That doesn't solve anything, and you're going to make people hate us even more. And what we have right now is like an opportunity to break the cycle of war, of violence, of hate. Right now, humanity has the best chance, at least according to known history as we're taught, this is the best chance we've ever had at breaking free from the Matrix. Like, this is the best chance that we've ever had of replacing this system that's enslaved us with a new system. And we're not going to get anywhere just going back in time. And I'm an optimist. I really try to just believe that things are going to work out. So I'm hoping that Trump does a good job, because I'm just an optimist, so I just hope he does a good job no matter what. And I think no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you should hope that. So I'm not going to make like a judgment call on what Trump is doing until like the end of the term, because that's just how I am. I just want to wait and see what happens before I make a judgment call. But if you're a Trump supporter, I think that it's important that you should be critical of Trump, because accountability is what's missing. The lack of accountability is part of what got us here. Like, think about it, guys. In America, if we had transparency on what was done with our tax dollars, and if our tax dollars was used appropriately, we would probably have like golden sidewalks, but instead we have like veterans like that are homeless. But I'm an optimist. I hope that Trump does a good job, and I hope that the change is positive. But if you're a Trump supporter, don't just blindly just like everything that he does. If he does something that's not cool, speak out about it. That's what makes the MAGA movement a viable mechanism. Potentially, it has the potential to be a viable mechanism for the Great Awakening, actually. Even if you hate Trump, I think you can acknowledge that it's like a populist movement. A lot of MAGA people, a lot of Trump voters were Obama voters. But what I'm really trying to get at here is, right now we sit in a really good position as humanity. Even though a lot of bad things are happening, we have a really good shot at dismantling the Matrix. And by the way, guys, the Matrix is dying either way. Like, we don't have to kill the Matrix anymore. It's collapsing. I think we can all see that. It's just a matter of what's going to replace it. Because if it's just another slave system, but backed by different entities, controlled by a different group of people, then that doesn't help us. Like, are we really going to settle for just getting like a little more freedom? Years ago, I heard Andrew Tate say that the way he looks at it, like the way that he qualifies humanity as basically a slave species, is because slaves do labor in exchange for only shelter and food and water. Think about this for a second. Slaves don't, like, a lot of people would say that the definition of a slave is that you don't get anything in return for your labor. That's not true. You do labor in exchange for shelter. They gave slaves shelter, food, water. There's things you have to give slaves so they can still work. Well, right now, with the way that the economy is, people are working, and can they have more than... I mean, a lot of people can't afford rent and groceries, actually. So do they even get that? And if we are so complacent and we settle, like, guys, right now the world is malleable for us. Like, we can actually use our voice to get the world that we want. So you can't settle. You can't just say, oh, well, if we can just get something better than what we had. No, guys, we could really have the world that we actually want. And part of it is spirituality. I'm really glad that we're not atheists anymore. I'm really glad that religion and tradition is coming back. But let's not just turn into, the churchgoers from like the 1950s that just go to church every Sunday but treat people like shit. The worst that I've ever been treated was from Christians. Like, the worst that I've ever been treated was from Christians. Jesus' teachings are completely different. Like, right now you have a lot of Christian people basically calling out people that have more of like a new age or liberal kind of perspective, and they basically bully them. They're like, oh, dumbass. It's like, yeah, okay, well, how Christian of you, right? So these are just some of the thoughts I had, and I just want this channel to be a place for discourse. Like, right now the channel's new. If there comes a point in time in the future where more people see this channel, leave some comments in the comment section and have a dialogue. Try to keep it respectful. If you just want to be disrespectful, that's fine too. I mean, leave hate comments if you want. It's all good, bro. But yeah, this is Younger MMA. I need to get off because it's raining and I can't see. I need to focus on driving. Peace, guys.